right. It's been a crazy day getting this whole thing going with our 343 Studio Sync event. We've just been online for 3 hours from Berlin, and now it's time to switching back over to 343 TV. And we're here with the usual techno/electro Saturdays. This is John Selway. About to get started here. Let's see who's in the chat today. Who was first today? Bug Tank, heck yeah. Wispa, welcome. John H. Kingston III from Rockaway Park. Wispa says from Wales. Nice. Never been there. Love to see it. F-Stop is here. Of course, Thomas from 343 Labs is in the chat. Harold Leslie. That's right. We have a very special guest today. Skippy. Nice one. James Porch. Mikhail Matern. Social. How do you say that properly? Jay Data. Porch. Another Mikhail Delange. I like that I'm seeing some new names. I'll bet some of these new names are here because of our guests today. Gotta be. Daniel Ventine from Intelligent. Welcome back. Happy Saturday. Alex Gordy. Kareem. Welcome. I believe that's everybody. I like to do that. I like to acknowledge everybody that's here from the start. Dive in. So let's dive in. Hey everybody, I'm John Selway. This is 343 TV, and this is part of our special lineup today for our Sync event that's been going on all day. We're celebrating the launch of our 343 Studio thing, our production hub, our subscription thing. I don't know. My mind is going. I have been just fretting over all of the technical details all day. This is mission control here. We've got the live stream coming for Berlin routed in through here from New York. Later on, we've got Abe Duque streaming remotely from his location, his super secret upstate lab, I think. And then we've got later on Tetro and friends out in LA. So I got to tell you, doing remote broadcasts from around the world is mind-blowing. I can't imagine what it's like on a real TV show, like a real live TV broadcast. This is just, man. So I'm learning a lot here. It's been pretty exciting. Now, I mentioned here in the chat, you might have noticed that, there's a little bit of a delay with the video coming from Anthony, but the sound is good. And of course, that is the most important thing. And so just bear with us. I'm going to do my best to make sure that it runs as tight as possible under the circumstances. And so, yeah, thanks for being understanding about that. We're going to keep an eye here on the chat for your questions. And I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't be doing the talking now. It's not just me here. You guys are here to, hopefully you're here to see our guest today. One of my favorite producers for a long time, and one of the most revered modern electro producers, certainly. Definitely has inspired many electro fans and producers for since the 90s. And I don't know, without further ado, cross your fingers. Remember, we're juggling a lot of balls here with the technical stuff, but let's bring in Anthony Rother. Anthony, what's up? How's it going?
Hello, John. Hello, everybody.
I can hear a little bit of an audio dropout. Give me a second while I try to adjust the settings here. All right.
We will get it.
We will get it. We will absolutely get it. All right. So I just had to refresh the browser source here in OBS. He's going to be right back. I think you still hear me, right, Anthony? Okay. No, he doesn't hear me. Sorry about that. So I warned Anthony ahead of time too that we might have to try to fix this live on air. And here he's coming back. Fantastic.
So you hear me, everybody?
Yeah, I hear you. Right. So I have another setting to check on my side. Aha. All right. There is the culprit. We were getting an echo on my side, which is very confusing to hear Anthony talk at me twice. That is fixed. And
oh, great.
I think we are ready to go. All right, back on track. Anthony, I'm so honored to have you here. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It's been a long time. The last four months, I worked on this streaming setup here in my studio, and so this is the first time, is a debut on your show with this, and hopefully everything will work out.
Yeah, definitely. So far, so good. I think, like I said, the video's a little shifty, but I hear you fine. I think everybody else hears you fine. And I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do today. We kind of have two sections to the show. You made an album recently, a really nice new album called Decatron, and we're going to listen to some of those tracks. I know that your fans out there are going to know this stuff already, but for anybody new, this is going to be a nice introduction to like what you're doing right now, and just to get get an idea of kind of your production style and your musical style. And then, we'll do that. We'll just have the discussion. This is an informal, it's a we're not going to do like a serious interview. We're just going to hang out and talk and listen to music and check out what's going on in the chat. I'll relay some questions to you. And then about, halfway through, we'll switch over and you have something prepared to share with us, right? One of your tracks from the album, and we can kind of look at more detail at the different parts and how you have that set up.
Yeah, I can explain some stuff because at the end it's just stems. I don't produce in the box, so it's all recordings. But we can listen to some of the solo tracks, and I can maybe tell you something about what I did. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it will turn out.
You were just before we started, we were just kind of waiting to come on. You were playing around with a new synthesizer you got, and I think you're kind of psyched about.
Yeah, unfortunately I lost the vocoder that I made on it. So yeah, so I did not save it. So
that's all right.
But it was the Quantum.
You just took delivery.
It's one of my
just
favorites.
Came last night, right?
Oh no, this one, the Quantum, I have it here. The one I got last night was the Iridium keyboard, which is the small and digital version of the Quantum. The Quantum has analog filters, and the Iridium is a fully digital synth.
Aha, okay. Sorry, I got a little bit confused. You were talking about the new one, and then you were playing with the other one that you've had for a while, that Quantum.
Exactly.
Nice. Just checking in. I want to make sure that we get in all the questions from the chat today, and scrolling down here and seeing if anyone's got any questions for you or comments. One of our people in our chat says that you have too many hardware synths. I don't think that's possible.
No, you must see it like this. The people that work in the box, they have all these lists of all these synthesizers. Imagine you would fill up a room with all the soft synths you have and all the
nowhere to sit.
Effect units you have. Compared to this,
that's true.
It's a small studio.
Nice. Let's see. And there's a nice comment. Lucas Sartori says, "I started listening to electronic music by Anthony Rother." So you were his introduction to electronic music. That's excellent.
Thank you.
Very nice. And let's see. All right, I'm going to do my best on this one. My German pronunciation isn't great, but I'm going to give it a try. Let's see if we can do this. Was war dein bester Effekt, den du jemals produziert hast?
Yeah. Effect. Oh, what was the best effect that I have produced? Oh wow, I don't know. This is I have to think about it, because I always think in tracks, but I don't think in effects.
Right, and I wonder, because that could mean two things. The way I understand it is this person asking about like an effects processor that you like to use a lot, or some particular sound design that you made for a track, like it could be either one of those, right? It could be like a sound as opposed to a processor.
I just can say that I love to work with our Eventide gear, because it has this kind of science fiction sounds in there. It's also used by film composers and post production in the film industry, and the vocoders or the phaser sounds or ring mod sounds where I can process my voice. It's another level. So I would say this is something I really like. But I have so many stuff, and I never think about what's the best or something like this. So this is a very hard question to answer, because I always have ideas in my mind, and also I have the Nord modulars, which I use as an effect unit, or my vocoder is always the Nord modular, and with this I can build my own vocoder with all the extensions in the Nord modular. I can add so much stuff to it, and I don't know any vocoder, ready-made vocoder that has these possibilities to tweak the vocoder. So I would say, the vocoder of the Nord modular is maybe one of a really highlight that I really like to use.
Yeah, I know you've done even some live performances just with the Nord modular, right?
My whole live set, my new Electro live set, which I produced in 2016, is all based on the Nord modular G2X. It's a full synthetic live set. The sounds from the bass drum to the bass lines, the strings, everything is just synthetic. That's great. This I do with the Nord modular.
That's amazing. And I mean, the Nord modular, like, not a lot of people have them nowadays, I think, or at least not using them that way. So before you continue, I'm thinking, let's talk. I'm going to play some music in the background from your album, just so it's not only, I think it will make it a little bit more interesting, and we can get going with the music. Nice. And while I play this nice intro track, it's the title track of the album, Decatron, there was a question asked, well, not a statement, it was really a request. Was Anthony, please make some more ambient music.
Yeah, the ambient stuff, I have stuff ready for the ambient. I also have much ideas, but at the moment I'm really on the electro trip, and I'm really focused on making electro tracks for the clubs. So at the moment I don't find the time to put this in, because I want to really concentrate on this electro stuff, and I don't want to get distracted from this flow that I have at the moment.
That makes sense.
So that's the only reason why I don't release any ambient stuff at the moment. I have stuff ready. I need to put it together, but at the moment it's electro time.
Yeah, it is electro time for me too. It's funny, I was trying to make a techno track the other day. I mean, I do sketches all the time that I do for the show, and some of those get finished and some of them don't. One of our 343 studio workshops recently, we do a collaboration workshop where we encourage students to get together and we give them ideas to start working. And I was trying to make a techno track, and I wasn't feeling it at all. The sounds were cool, but I'm like, I'm not getting it. And then I changed all the beats to be electro, and I was just, that is where my mind is right now as well. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I can feel you. I can feel you. Yeah, it's, for me, producing this club electro is something. If you listen from the outside to the music, you think, oh, this is something that's very simple, and it's nothing special. But to get to the point, to have it stripped down and just focused on that, it really is hitting in the club, really going forward, is something. It's not so easy to achieve for me, I must say. I have really work very concentrated on this, and that's why I can't jump between different styles, because you get the inner rhythmic changes too much.
Sure.
So it distracts me from the flow.
Yeah, and I think it's important to respond to how you feel about, especially dance music. Like, and that reminds me, like, I remember getting comments on the Instagram post about how and everybody I think that enjoys your music, they love watching the videos of you in the studio moving and dancing while you're creating the music. And you're feeling it, and then we feel it through the music, right? Like that energy is in the music that you get, right? So I think it's really important that you're and vital that that's how you put that focus and that feeling into the music that you're making.
Yeah, when I'm here in the studio, I'm always moving. It's not, when I make the jam, it's a special situation, but I'm always here moving. And when I get into the move like a robot and stuff like this, I really, it's like a transition. I really feel the energy, or also the story that is in the track.
Mm-hmm.
So it transforms me somehow. It's a part of to find out how the music works for me in the emotion.
Definitely. I'm just queuing up another the next track on the album. A little bit darker, Cyber Dreams, this one's called.
Yeah, the Cyber Dreams, this track, the Decathlon album is also something like a cyber, not cyberspace, or no. Oh.
I mean, when we talk about cyber, we're talking about man and machine together.
I have a blackout.
And, it happens to me all the time on a live stream where my mind just goes. It's totally normal.
It's crazy. So it's like a cyberpunk like a cyberpunk story, the Decathlon, and it's also a story about a superhero in the cyberpunk era. And when I made Cyber Dreams, is a story of this dark city. This guy is driving with the car and all these high buildings, skyscrapers. He's in the dark, he's driving, and he has some special powers. He can reverse the time and stuff like this, and that's what he's talking about.
Great. Yeah, no, and it's perfect. That kind of imagery. I was just thinking about how helpful it is if you're putting an album project together to have a specific sort of concept or vision around the whole album before you even start making the music, because it helps focus your musical choices.
I must say, with the Decathlon album, it was a special thing, because I don't wanted to do an album, because I had done so many albums the year before, and I wanted to make some 12 inches, and I started to produce in a loose way, just making some tracks and stuff like this. But after 2-3 tracks, I found out that there's a new story coming in, and it's like I find the story, and then I saw, okay, I have to follow somehow this path now.
Got it. I'm listening to the vocals. You've got your pitch shifted vocals, and there actually is a question here in the chat. Where do you take your inspiration for your vocals? I really like them and their vibe. Is it a jam process? And you speak what comes to your mind, or do you write the lyrics before starting a track?
First I make the music, and then I have a loop. And while I'm producing the loop, I can feel something, and then I have the feeling, okay, there's some vocals in there. Then I let the loop running. I go there on my couch, I sit there, and then I start mumbling on it. Some stuff, and then words are falling off, and there's then like a word is falling off, the idea comes together, and I can see the whole story, and then I start writing the stuff. So it's like it's a high creative process, because I never really know where I'm ending. I can feel it, but then at the end I have something. It's also a riddle to me. So because sometimes I see a meaning in there, and the next time I read it again or I hear it again, and I find another meaning in there. So it's also something I put in, but there's something that's a subtext that's in there that I find out sometimes years later in the stuff.
That's interesting. There's stuff that comes up sort of maybe subconsciously along with the stuff that's in the front of your mind, and that you think about it, and later on there's a a deeper layer of information. That's cool.
Yes,
I like the way you put that.
There's a world behind this world.
Right. All right. I have another question for you about more specific a type of sound. Eric Schubert wants to know about your hi-hats in your electro tracks. Are those sourced from a specific drum machine? And then he mentions your recent X-Bass 09 workout, like a video you did recently.
Yeah, I use various drum machines.
You've got a lot on the wall back there, and
yes,
along with the synths, right?
The X-Bass, the 808, the Jomox Air Alpha Bass. Then I have the I have the Somar Pulsar 23, the MPC-X. They have this new drum synth in there that's I used for Cyber Dreams. That's the MPC-X. Then I have the Motor DR2. So I use all the hi-hats from different models. Right. So.
And then, actually, I missed this part. Noise-based hi-hats. I have to say, when I do sound design, you make my own drum sounds. In software, I'm using different types of noise and shaping that noise to make hi-hats. I think so. Even getting a little bit more detailed, like. Do you ever make your own? You do make your own drum sounds, like for example, your live set with the Nord modular. How do you generate your hi-hats with the Nord modular?
With a noise.
Same.
With a noise. Yeah. With a noise, or sometimes also I mix it with an oscillator that's very high pitched, and then with the FM frequency modulation, then you can get some cymbal type or hi-hats or cymbals or ride stuff. And I must say I want to point something out. The Jomox Alpha Bass is for me the king of hi-hats, because the guy from Jomox, he put in there like I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's a single wave whatever. He has like 128 single waves in there, and it's different textures, and you can make so crazy hi-hats with this, and that's what I use mostly here. I also mix these hi-hats with other drum machines because I can find so many sounds in there. It's incredible. I don't know if I have explained it right, but
I think so. I think you gave us a good feeling for why you like it so much. That is definitely, I mean, one of the reasons I like using software is not only the convenience and the control you have, but it's economical for me. And I've never been a gear collector. I might like buy a synth and after a while sell it and then get another one and not build them up. If I were to buy a drum machine, the one you're talking about is definitely high up on my list because it does have like a character that is distinctive.
Yeah, the bass drum is one of the best bass drums in the world, I must say.
Sure. Is it pretty much the same as that little standalone box, that kick they had that you could? It was like
the M bass.
Yeah, is it the same as that or similar?
No, the Alpha Bass is how you call it, evolution of the M bass,
it's better.
And it's better. It's better, yes. And the only downfall on the Alpha Bass is it don't has a snare, analog snare. So they have this kind of called membrane, and you can make crazy stuff with this. But like a snare that has like a real like a 808 snare or like the X-Bass 09 is not there. Okay. So
is it more of like a physical modeled snare instead, like a little more acoustic sounding?
No, you can make crazy stuff with this, but it's also I did not understand the concept of it, so I tried so often to make a good snare with it, but I failed. You can make snares that's more like experimental, but for a snare that hits like a 808 it's not possible to make with the Alpha Bass.
I mean, there are many good emulations of 808, and I can make a similar sound to myself, but it's the real one. Nothing pops like the real one.
That's true. Or samples.
Yeah, sample doesn't do it. I mean, okay, like I have behind me, I have the Behringer clone of the 808, and it's pretty decent for a low price.
I think I mean, at the end, you're tweaking the sound already, also in the with the compression and EQ and everything. So if you have a good basic material that you can shape, so that's great. I mean, if you work with samples, what I do, I use a LFO and I put some on the pitch and modulate the pitch of the samples so that every time they're a bit different. And I think this is something that makes the samples feel like they are more alive, like analog.
Yeah, it makes sense to have elements that move a little bit and change every time you hit the snare or whatever the drum is. It sounds just a little bit different. That has a groove unto itself. I want to just say here, the last couple of tracks, I noticed someone asked about a track ID. The last one we played before was Cyber Dreams, and this one is Electrophonia. And this is definitely one of the best, like the biggest dance tracks. I mean, most of this album is dance tracks. Like this is dance floor mostly. But this one especially, I think, is like, this is a hit for a dance floor.
Yeah, I must say, when I play it in the club, it's a highlight for sure. It has a nice energy.
You got the rave stabs. Like you have this kind of 90s rave element combined with the driving electro, which works well.
Exactly. I digged in my old sampling CDs and layered different steps from the 90s together to create these sounds. And then when I played the sequence and I heard it and I thought, okay, this is like the quadrophonia. It's not the same. It has kind of this vibe of the 90s, and that's why I call it Electrophonia, because there is a tribute to the quadrophonia and to the 90s, of course, with this raving steps.
It's definitely fun. I mean, I'm moving around to it. Luminous Cloud. Luminous Cloud is a regular on my show. Thanks for coming back. And Anthony, he is asking you, when did you start popping and locking? Do you breakdance also? He says he used to break on cardboard in the streets in the 80s. Sorry.
I mean, in the 80s when we were kids, we also did breakdance, but we did it in an amateur way. And I know we'd make this head spin. And I had a helmet on to make the head spin, and I hurt my neck so bad. And also we run through the walls and try to make a backflip and stuff like this.
That's dangerous.
Very dangerous stuff. And but I never was a good dancer or something like this. I just I enjoy when I dance, and I know I'm not the best dancer, but for me is I can absorb the music through my body when I'm dancing. It's something like I experience music, and in the studio I experience the grooves that I put together. I can experience them when I'm dance to them with my body. So
nice.
But I love to break.
You do, and even just the popping and locking is like the safe version where you're not going to hurt yourself. Yes. And it fits the music perfectly. Any kind of robot dance. I'm sure you're inspired by a lot of the same as those of us who've been into this kind of music for a long time, and like the early electro funk kind of stuff, and and the kind of music, the music that was breakdance music, early hip hop and electro funk, and that it's electro basically. So that's where it all started for me mainly, and I imagine it was much the same for you.
Exactly. I'm coming from the 80s electro. I'm more inspired from the 80s electro than from the 90s electro. So
although 90s, like you started releasing electro in the 90s, so you are also you are 90s electro as well.
Yes, but the very early 90s electro, I did not know about it, because back in the days we had no internet or something like this. You really had to, I don't know, be every time in a record shop or be after it to know what's going on. And to me, electro wasn't that present at this time.
Okay.
I'm more influenced from the 80s and of course of all the Kraftwerk stuff, but then from the US electro, being inspired from the Kraftwerk stuff. This is the stuff like in 80, 85, 86, 87 that I'm heavily influenced by.
Definitely. Gonna put on another bit of music here. Now I can't believe it. I told you when we were setting up for this that the time flies by really quickly, that an hour will be done in no time. We've already been on for a half an hour. Things are going great. I just want to, again, acknowledge the chat. Let's see who's in here recently. Oh, there's a really nice comment here. Thank you. Sam Kitt is giving us some great news. He says, thanks. He just got a track signed to a big label, not saying just yet, but one that we'd know for sure. I used some techniques I picked up off your stream. Thanks again. I really appreciate that, Sam, and congratulations on your release coming up. That's really great news.
Nice.
That's excellent. Let's see. And then Sam is also asking for the track ID, but I think we already said that was the Electrophonia. Jean-Marc Deconte is commenting on your polyrhythmic elements, which is interesting. I like to think polyrhythmic and also polymetric. And polymetric would be when the sequence is an odd number against an even number.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for explanation.
Right, we got to do the little bit of the language thing, right?
Yeah.
And there were some questions before when you were talking about hi-hats, and you were talking about adding an oscillator to the noise, and that's a little bit like FM synthesis. Are you using specifically any FM synths?
Not really FM. It's I've tried it, but is a concept I don't understand. I don't understand this concept of FM synthesis.
You can come join my sound design synthesis class one day, and we'll talk about it.
I think even if you explain it to me, I will never understand.
It's just maybe, and I say this in the class when we go over the structure of FM. I say this isn't for everybody, but you should understand it as a producer to know what kinds of sounds that can be made. So even if you're just using presets, to know like what type of textures is FM good at, what type of instruments are good to make with an FM synth, and then they can choose for their music if they want like this metallic or bright or bell-like tone. FM is great for that. There's other types of textures and sounds that FM is especially good for. So even if they never synthesize their own sound with an FM synthesizer, if they don't at least they understand what it's good for. That's kind of the basic idea.
I mean, for me, sound design is FM, real FM synthesizer. I don't talk about FM when I make FM with an additive synthesizer, but a real FM synthesizer. You can use it or I can use it to have some happy accidents, Sure. But when I'm doing sound design, I have a clear imagination of the sound. So the synthesizer is like a tool, and I know what to tweak to get this picture. I see sounds like a geometric shape.
Sure.
And the synthesizer is like a shaper, and the FM synthesizer is just like I do something and everything is wrong. So I never got into it, and it's unlogical for me also.
I got it. I think I'm seeing in the chat people are making comments about different hardware. Tim Trubrot mentions the Electron Digitone do you use any of the Electron stuff or any kind of more sequence groovebox type hardware?
I use it back in the days, but today I don't use it anymore.
It seems like you have a lot of different synths and different drum machines simultaneously rather than everything in one box.
In my studio.
I'm not talking about your live set. I mean, it might come in handy for a live set, but I do like the simplicity and the focus of you're using the Nord modular live. That's really cool. Have you tried any of the Electron stuff?
Yes, I used them mid of 2006 and stuff like
the
this,
early
machine drum and stuff. But I sold the machine drum at the end because when I started to make electro again in 2013, I listened to it carefully, and I didn't find the sound that it fits in my electro sound. So I need stuff that hits hard. But I know the analog rhythm. I had this, and this sounds great. These things, but for me they are too deep in their menu diving and stuff like this.
That is something to get over. It's like learning FM synthesis. There's a different way of getting through.
Yeah, it's too deep. You have to learn too much, and I have so many stuff here that I need to know how it works. So if it gets too deep, it's something you have to be every time on it and work with this. After 2 weeks you come and you don't know how it works anymore, and so I'm trying to have stuff that's not too deep in a complex way, and that's what you see in my studio is the stuff I love to work with.
Just a quick question about the last track I was playing, I think Meta Me. Someone wanted to know how you made the bass line in this one. I'm going to bring it back up again so everybody can hear it.
This is the Quantum.
Aha. I was thinking about, you're not into FM, but you are into digital wavetable synths, which is a whole nother thing, right?
I also love FM sounds.
Sure.
All right. It's not nothing against the sound. The sound of the FM, I love it.
It's more just the process. So this bass sound is really cool. It's like, it's not a complex sound, but it's very distinctive. And I think for me, it's as much about how it's played as the sound itself, in a way.
It's a combination.
Sure.
I mean, I getting now more into sound design, and I figured out that the sounds that I'm producing or that I program in the studio, these sounds you can't not use them for any other things.
Right.
They are designed on the sequence, and they're so short. And if you want to play them, also I use much of detuned stuff. It's a sound you when you play it, it sounds ugly.
Right. If
maybe this bass sound,
This happens a lot in this kind of music or in techno or other related genres, that you're designing the sound as part of the rhythm or the groove or the whole track together, and by itself, like you would never save it as a preset and use it again, because it would, or maybe it depends on, you just have to play it right. If you don't play it the right way in the right context, it doesn't work as well.
I program every sounds from every production from scratch. I always start with the init sound.
That's great. All right, time is flying, and we still have to get over and look at your project. Now, we picked one to look at closely, which is Bot for Life, right? And I think there was a question earlier about what DAW do you use, and I think you're using Cubase?
No, I use Logic.
Oh, Logic, I'm sorry.
And
maybe you used to, or I could be thinking of someone else.
It's a very old version. It's Logic 9,
Mm-hmm.
And my computer system is a Mac Pro, and it's on OS X 10.6. So I don't, since 10 years, I don't get any new software, stuff like this. I mean, I don't work with software, and the stuff that I have on the computer, it's for me, okay, I don't need more. So I have my mixing desk, which I have also full equipped with plugins and stuff like this, and I have all the hardware, and I'm not against any digital or a progression of the technology or something like this. I'm not somebody that against this or something. Don't get me wrong, but for me, it's the system is very tight. I have a very tight MIDI. Everything is working all the time. All the audio, all the digital stuff and so is working, and also I don't have this stuff with the update of my computer system. So the system is always available, and I have no when you update that
nothing will break.
you lose
I
something
think
or
this
something.
This
exactly.
is an excellent example of working within limitations. You have a specific set of limitations that are working for you and allow you to be freely creative in the ways that you want. Now, we really are about to run out of time, so let's switch over to your screen share so we can see what you're working on, and we can just take a quick look. All right. Right now we've got...
I don't work on it. It's the stem. Yeah, this is what you see here. This is my this is the computer. This is my mixing desk, and this is in this mixing desk I have also like different plugins and stuff like this that I can use. So there's great stuff in there. So this is everything in the mixer.
Right.
So
trying to.
So and here. Oh. So here, this is my project, and these are the stems from the track "Bot for Life." And as you can see, there's no plugin stuff or something like this. I record the stuff from the stems from my mixer. I have for the show I made it nice now because I never go back to the stems. I just have them as a maybe if I want to make a remix or whatever in the future. I record everything in stems, but I left in there the project, the MIDI project, and that's how the song looks. That's the arrangement. Here you can see the different MIDI stuff, and then you can see also the stuff that I recorded in audio, and here down there's some stuff that I don't want to delete because there's some stuff in there, but I never go back to an old project.
I see.
So I just keep it for, I don't know, maybe when I'm older gonna take this stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if those are parts that you didn't use, they could be nice for another track.
Yeah, but I'm doing this since 20 years. I never got back to anything. So maybe I give it to my I don't know. Okay, so let me play it from the beginning.
This is a fun track. It's another definitely like good for the dance floor track on this album. And one of the reasons that I picked it for us to look at was the vocoder. I know this is something that is distinctive to Electro, but also you have your style and way of doing vocals with a vocoder. And you have like the precise, like clear, you can understand the words you're saying. And this is actually tricky to do, to get a vocoder to sound the right way so that you can understand the words and also have it sound really cool with the music.
I think this is something, because at the moment I don't know what great to say about it, but let's go for the vocoder stuff.
Let's take a look.
Because the vocoder is something that needs much time, because the first thing is I record the voice and the vocoder. I have here my vocoder keyboard, and then I sing it in. I record the stuff, and then I record mostly like 4 maximum 5 durations of the lyrics, and then I listen to them, and then I cut them together with the best parts of it. Once I have this together, I listen to the consonant as like the K, G, B, P, and whatever, and then I really edited every consonant in the in the text of the stuff. So this is a very long process to edit all these words. I put them all together so to get this pronounced as good as possible.
I see. So you're comping the best pronunciation.
Exactly, and
Wow.
then I edit like every letter of it, like a K or something. I make it louder and stuff like this. So it's really
okay.
I chop it. I go very
So you're
deep
doing
into
your
it.
audio editing and you're isolating parts of the words to emphasize them.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly, to get this as clear as possible. And this is, I must say, it's fun to create the track and have all the lyrics and everything, and then when I have recorded the vocoders, and then the pain begins because
right.
I'm there maybe for 2 or 3 or a week and working on this small stuff, and you listen all the time to the words and everything, and it's a bit like it's like a torture a bit. But I know at the end I get a good result, and that's what motivates me to get over this and work on this.
Well,
and then of course you have to work with the compression, and it's I think you have to have a technique, but the important thing is I have it running and I'm listening to it and try and see what can I understand.
Sure.
And for the vocoder stuff also, there's something that's important before I record. In the vocoder, it's very important that the voice, the volume of the voice and the volume of the oscillators are very equal.
Sure.
In this moment, when it's equal, you get the best sound of the that you understand what's said.
Right.
And I think I don't know how it is with the software vocoder or something.
It's similar. It depends on the vocoder that you're using. Now, there's a question here from Wispa in the chat. Can you do that with Ableton vocoder? And I'm going to say to him or to them, can't tell, if it's this is with any vocoder. The process we're talking about is in the audio. Like you're changing the volume of doing an audio editing job with and now let me clarify something. Are you doing this to the clean voice before it goes into the vocoder, or are you doing it with the recording after?
No, I did this in the past, but then I changed it that I sing the vocoder, record it, and then I do the edit, because the other way was more insane to do these edits. And I mean,
I understand why you would do that. It makes sense to do it after, and you can really, you emphasize a transient
exactly.
As it sounds. And if you do the clean audio going into the vocoder and you change that, it's going to change how the vocoder reacts.
Exactly. Yes.
And I think,
but that's how I did it before, or all the years before, because I had more control, because then I could edit the vocoder afterwards. That's what I'm losing now, because now I have to make a decision and say, okay, that's the sound of the vocoder,
right.
And then I record it. The other version was I could work on the vocoder more after I have recorded the vocals, and but I prefer the new way to do it.
No, I think that's good.
It's faster and not so torture.
And I'll also say to Wispa that there are many good software vocoders now. I actually really like the vocoder in Ableton. It's very accurate, and it has a large number of bands. It has a gate built in. It has a precise envelope follower, and you can make it with the right processing and the right input and output effects. You can make it sound like almost any other vocoder. And so it's one of the most easy to use and flexible digital vocoders that I've found. Now, there may be other ones that are better, and I'm sure anybody in the chat who's played around with vocoders may have a favorite, but I've been very satisfied with the vocoder sounds that I've gotten out of the one included in Live. And I'm going to try this idea that for doing some editing of the audio after the fact.
Yeah, you have to do it because for like with a K or a G or something like this, you have to, because if you just compress the stuff, then you get it's getting too soft.
Yeah.
You can't fix it with a compression. I tried everything to avoid this kind of work, but it's not working. You have to do this accurate work on it if you really want to have it very precisely. Sometimes sometimes you want to have a sloppy. I have also sloppy ones, because this is something that sometimes if you start working and it's too accurate, it's also sometimes not working. So I leave it more like in this unprocessed version. It's more a dirty one. But if I have a text like in this song, I wrote the lyrics and everything. I want that it's as good as possible to understand.
Let's let the full track play now and listen to a little bit of this before because we've been talking about the vocoder, but we haven't actually listened to much of the track. So let's, we're in our last 5 minutes now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about time almost time to say goodbye. So listening to the track in full would be a nice way to wrap things up.
Okay, so then I say goodbye, and already, and we let the track run a little bit.
Almost ready to say goodbye. Let's listen, and maybe we're gonna talk another couple of minutes before I switch over. And while we're listening, I just want to remind everybody in the chat that today's show, we're on 343 TV, but this is part of a larger all-day event called Sync, which is celebrating the launch of our 343 Studio program. There is a link here in the chat. Definitely stick around after the show today. Abe is going to be on doing a presentation about modular production, modular synthesis, and I think something about making the switch to modular, like how do you get started if you're used to making music with software, that kind of a thing. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but Abe is going to tell you guys what that's all about. And later on, after Abe, he's going to be on for an hour. We're going to do 2 hours of myself and Christian Smith in the studio.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I'll come back and talk a little bit before that happens. After that, we've got a couple of hours from LA. Tetro and some friends are going to... I think there's going to be some discussion, and then there's also a sample challenge. We have submissions to give feedback to, and then we'll choose a winner of that sample challenge. And then to end the day, we have another live performance here in New York this time. We started the day with live performance and presentations from Berlin, and we have 1 more hour for a live performance here in New York before we wrap things up at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Anthony, thanks so much.
Yes. Thank you.
This was amazing. I'm going to switch back over to the main screen here and just say goodbye again. Thanks to everybody in the chat for being here. One more comment here from the from the chat, and again, 343 Labs has put up a link here to, if you haven't already signed up for 343 Studio, do that right now, and then you can join the live broadcast in full until we're done later today. Nice. So I hope, Anthony, that we can do this again sometime. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I have a good feeling, because I also have some ideas what I want to do with the streaming.
Yeah.
I'm finding my way now. This is the first time. It felt very nice to me. I mean, you're a very good host.
Thank
and
you.
I had to do nothing. I just had to follow you. So this was a good start.
Great.
And maybe we do something when I'm working in the studio. I want to
Not to put you on the spot too much. I know we don't have to promise now, but just think about it.
Yes, exactly. yes. But we will talk about it, and we'll see what we can do together.
Great. I'm really glad you're able to make it today. We got through our technical limitations. The show has gone just as well as I could expect. We're going to sign off now. Thanks again, everybody, for watching today. And we're going to switch back over to the sync programming in just a few minutes. So please stay tuned.
Goodbye.
Until next week. Adios.